Hello, once again, I am Jim Dukart. It is the 4 a.m. moonlit hour of a Sunday morning just outside of Kansas City, Missouri, where we will be watching crews from Kansas City Power and Light string three-phase shielded conductor across I-35. Our participating utility is Kansas City Power and Light, and this video is sponsored by Burns and McDonnell. Now, what we are seeing here is the crews setting up again in the early morning hours. They have closed off the freeway in order to take down the old cable and start stringing new cable across this very, very busy interstate highway. And now as we get into dawn and a little more daylight, you see a support structure here on the median of I-35. It's going to support any wire as they bring it across and rope. And with even more increasing daylight, you can see now the highway is reopened. All the ropes have been strung across, and now we'll start bringing the wire across. And you will see that this job actually involves several trucks and several crews. We need crews at the cross arms on each side of the I-35 crossing. Also need them all the way down the line. We're going to switch to a view down the line now. You're going to see another challenging aspect of this job. There are a couple of relatively sharp angles here. And I'm going to let you listen to some of the radio communication on the job.
C-phase, you want to cut it and then just tie it together to itself on the bottom side of that guide. 10-4, brother.
And so you see here one of those angles being talked about. And here we see the crew at one of the termination ends of this conductor pole or wire crossing. Total distance here, including the highway crossing, is 4,900 feet, almost 1 mile. And so combined with those angles, quite an impressive job here for KCP&L. And at this termination point, you see spools of colored rope. That's called spider wire or spider rope, and it is being used to go across the crossing and then tied in to a swivel or bullet, which you will see in a second, and that actually pulls the conductor itself back across.
Yeah, when we get the P line down here to us, then we're going to hook it into this bullet or swivel, and this is one of the important parts. You don't want this to get hung up on anything as it's making its way back down to where the wire is. So we'll have somebody driving, following it out. So if this gets hung up, gets out of the channel of the dolly or anything, then you can tear a cross arm off. Yeah, a lot of angles on this one, so we got to be real careful going through the angles.
And here we can see that bullet or swivel going across the sky here, being pulled across. This is the top or neutral wire or conductor. And you're going to see it go into actually getting ready to cross the highway here. Again, I'm going to let you listen to the radio communication.
A little more brake. More brake. We're getting ready to go across the highway, so be prepared to give me more brake if we need it. 10 more.
And as we go across that highway, wanted to show you this. This is our lead man foreman, Jeff, on the job. He is tracking the progress of the bullet or swivel at its pace to make sure that the speed of the swivel is good, that it doesn't get hung up in anything as it's going across. You see it here again just above the treetops moving in. And now you're going to see it go through what is called a dolly up here. That's how they're rolling this line, this rope and cable through the poles. And as our rope and bullet continues its 4,900 foot path, you see it now come through another one of those dollies up on the pole. You see it against the backdrop of the wires, the phases underneath. Then it's going to come through, and we will now see the coils of conductor that are going to be passed back across with this thicker rope that came from the other side. Here is the ground crew holding in place that rope that just came across, and now we're going to see the spools of conductor as it's being fed back across to the other side where this first pull originated from. And now let's go back up on the pole on the sending end where we started this process sending the spider wire or spider rope. And first we're going to show here in a quick series of shots the dead ending process using a hoist to dead end this neutral wire, the top wire that we saw strung across the highway, as they clamp in this newly strung neutral, tighten it down, and cut off the extra tail on that neutral. Then we're going to see them take away the dolly that was used to bring the new neutral over. We're going to move it down on the pole, and we'll put it at cross arm level because the next process is going to be sequentially taking the A, B, and C phases across using that same dolly and sequentially pulling across the spider wire or rope, and then a thicker rope, and eventually the new conductors. So with that, and as we go to much later in the day, you can now see that 3 new phases and a neutral have all been strung across I-35. This is where we started 4 o'clock in the morning with the highway shut down. You have now seen our T&D How video on an interstate highway crossing. Our participating utility was Kansas City Power and Light. This video was sponsored by Burns and McDonnell. I am Jim Dukart with T&D How videos. Thank you as always for watching.